Hey YouTube! So this is the first time anyone's ever seen this online, ever, unless you watched my last video where I was putting it together. This is the JPAXB bass, number 1. So you've seen me with the prototype guitar. This is made by Dave in Montana, it's a luthier in America, who's been, as a fan, I suppose, of Jen's artwork. So he makes guitars, so he's kind of come up with these crazy designs, and then Jen's painted them. So this one, if you haven't watched the first half, you'll watch the first half to tell you all about it, I suppose. So we've got, I'm going to even, I do even know, basically I've been playing it for the last 10 minutes. It really didn't take me long to put strings on between, I had lunch instead. See, 34 inch, yeah, I thought it was standard P bass length. Yeah, so all handmade. Quite a chunky neck on it. But I've been playing weird basses recently anyway. So we've got hip shop tuners up the top. You can see the. I'm not lighting it well. Does that make a difference? It's like it's like all the paint Jen uses is like super reactive to sunlight, depends on what light you put on it. They're very bright. They never really show up in videos very well. Obviously, it's gone all the way around as well. So yeah, so basically, it's my first time playing this bass, and I'm just straight up saying it's the best bass I've ever played. It's just it plays so well. I have been playing recently. I've been playing through the wee Roland Cube, and I was playing like a jazz bass, and I was playing the wee red bass and stuff like that. So I've not been playing my most expensive basses recently, but I don't know if I've ever actually played. It's like, see this difference there is. I had this before when I built the. I know technically I didn't hand build it, but the Shocking Bird was shockingly good because it had been hand built, and then it's like occasionally I've had a few like that. The Corker is like that as well. When it's just built, well, it's just like a different level from really any factory built one, and this is it. This is that in a base. It's a different shape. I mean, obviously the shape's going to be polarizing because it's not a normal shape. But I like it. I think it's really silly. It's much bigger than the guitar. This is big horn. I kind of want to put my. I think it's sitting there. So I kind of want to have that attached on there. That'd be pretty cool, eh? Maybe do that. At some point you could. Yeah. I'm pretty sure somebody must have done that before. I think the Les Paul not have a thing that used to plug in, like when it plugged in at the top is like of his Les Paul. We're doing that. So we've got 22 frets. This has got an ebony fingerboard, and it's made of check back later once it's finished what it's actually made of. So the problem with this was that there was a bit of a failure with this arrived at Jen's pre-rendered, primed and stuff, base coat and stuff on it. Basically all I had to do was painted it and the paint chips off. So there was an error. There was a factory recall or something wrong with the paint that was the primer paint that was used. So this one, unfortunately, if you actually dig your nails into it, the paint peels off. So Jen's absolutely destroyed it. It takes 4 days to paint one of these things, and then suddenly it's got to go. So this is getting sanded back. I'm going to be sanding it back and then getting painted again. But I wanted to put it together so at least there was something to show for it. Look for this guitar. You know, maybe you could recreate the lost JPAX. 50 years time, someone will find this video and go, I'll make the JPAXB bass, because the bass will still exist, but it won't be painted this way. All the I'm not going to say they're random what they end up looking like, but it's kind of random what they end up looking like. There's obviously some idea at the start, but they just go. That's why it takes 4 days to do. It's not a case of just drawing that. Like, if you knew you were going to draw that, it wouldn't take 4 days. You're not drawing it. It's confusing. I've seen it happen a couple of times. You're just like, first time you're like, what the hell are you doing? But now it makes sense. So I'm getting to like this. This is the first time actually looking at it, because I'm now looking at it in the monitor there. Thing with it, I like the headstock. It's kind of, it doesn't. It's got a bit of the bongo bass thing going on, but not as ugly. Position wise, it just feels like a P bass totally. And everything about it's just a P bass, even though it's got a slight different bit balancing perfectly. It's got a jazz bass pickup, which I don't need it, but you're better off having it, I suppose, than you can not use it like I do. Well, I do quite fancy doing a bass like that, one of my own, if I've got the PJ. Well, actually, maybe the wee, is it still on the wall behind me? The Fernandez, it's got a jazz bass pickup, and I wonder if I put my stereo thing in, but it basically just runs as normal, but you put an extra socket on the top, and it's like one of those, you know, the ones you get like a headphone socket. When you plug the headphones in, it stops the power going to the speakers. You need one of those sockets, which means I can have a jack socket in the front, whereas I stick that in, it just makes the jazz bass pickup and its own volume come out the other speaker, come out another amp, so I could have like a fuzz amp. Might be quite good. And this would be quite cool to do it to one of my own guitars. That's a mod I quite fancy having, and you can just ignore it. Suppose you jazz bass pickup on. It's just got that thing that the Corker's got as well. All the notes seem to be the same volume, which I'm not really noticed them when they're not the same volume, but you notice them when they are. It doesn't really seem. They're all the same exact volume, which is kind of bizarre. Maybe that's what happens when you put new strings on a bass. And I think maybe going back onto the big bass amp, although the wee Roland is fantastic, it really is. It's like, that's a 15-inch speaker, that's bigger than the whole amp. So, yeah. So it's got cool fret markings that are on kind of the top, a la Washburns. No, Washburn did it, and their one that kind of went along the top there, and then crossed over like a Rhodes on the dots on the 12th fret, and then went along the top. The dots on the fingerboard aren't for the player anyway. They're for the rhythm guitarist. So you can go. It's like fucking C. It's C. Look. I mentioned these are Seymour Duncan quarter pounder pickups, which have bigger pole pieces. So I mean, those are the ones, if I was going to buy fancy pickups, I would buy ones with bigger pole pieces, because bigger's better, and that's cool. So those are the ones I would buy, rather than just buying normal, even if they were exactly the same pickups. Seymour Duncan ones that were exactly the same in every way, apart from the smaller pole pieces, I would still pay the extra tenner to get the ones with bigger pole pieces, because they look cool. You also get ones that they do the ones that have only got 2 poles. Like the P-bass ones have just got one, you know, instead of having 4 poles per pickup, it's only got 2. They look cool as well. But I mean, I just generally think when you're looking at something like this, it really... Okay, this has got all the top of the line stuff on it. The bridge, okay, it's quite a fancy one, but I mean, the bridge, it's not going to make any difference. You could run that, I mean, you could pick up a bridge like that for sod all. The tuners, okay, they're really good, but I mean, not like Wilkinson tuners or something like that aren't going to sound any different. They're maybe not quite as smooth, might not last as long, you know. But fair bit of the way they are for the sound. It's all in putting the body in the neck. It's all it makes a bass. You know, I could take the stuff off that Honor, put it on this, and this bass would still sound like this. It's one of those things. It's just like kind of holistically, it's better put the best stuff on it, but it's got like a pure ringing sustain. I think that sustain block that's in below the bridge really does the trick. It's like, I always laugh at the idea, you know, that it's like all of the sustain and having the through strung on it. But I mean, the guitars I've got that sustain the most are those Washburns, which have it's through strung, like a telly. It's a through neck. It's got the brass saddles that are clamped on. It's got a brass nut. You know what I mean? And it's got power sustain pickups, and it's like all those things that make, and it weighs a ton. All those things that are meant to make sustain happen, and on that guitar, it's the most sustainiest ever. Or the three of them are the same. It's like kind of, so there is a truth to some of these things. I don't know. Do you ever really notice this? Do you need sustain on a bass? Not really. I never play one note long enough. P bass, so I need. I was going to say the only thing I don't have is I don't have that cool drum beat, but actually I can just I don't need to have the bass plugged into the wee Roland to get the drum beat that I've been enjoying. That one. It doesn't sound as good when you're not playing through the wee amp with that. There's something about the sort of fun side of things, like the wee red bass, the micro, the bass cube, that drum sound, and like the automatic wah thing is like pure brilliant fun. It's not as serious though, whereas this is serious and playing through the big amp and stuff. So it's like having that silly thing. It's like, no, it just doesn't really want to be playing random disco. It's a bit good. There's a real chunker of a neck on this though. But I think the neck's probably got a fair amount to do with the tone, Mr. Whitesnake. But I mean, I was moaning about this the other day. What was I talking about? Was it that? Complaining about like the late 80s sort of super strat type basses, when specifically Washburns are really bad at this, but other ones as well, where they've made it sort of really, really thin neck to make it like, oh, because it's for shredding. And the problem is you really have to use the truss rod so much. You know, it's like you have to, you get the truss rod off, you take the strings off, the neck's like that, because if you put the strings on, it pulls it up like a bow. You know, so it's in tune, and it's things that if you take one of the strings off, all the other strings just go, and then they're all sitting flat in the fingerboard. I don't like that. So on the other extreme, you go chunkier, which has got no downsides apart from being chunkier. And I'm already used to it. It no longer feels chunky. That's what I'm saying there. I was like, pure, yeah, it's got a chunky neck. It doesn't feel like it now, but it did when I first picked it up. It just seems very precise. You know, it's like all the notes at the same volume, they're all the same timbre. And the buzzing's me buzzing. But I mean, there is a reason when you look at people with their, their signature series guitars, And those guitars are okay. They have made them as well, and they sell, you know, I don't know, all companies, all the Fenders, all the Gibsons, all the Ibanez, all of them. The guitars that the superstars are playing are pretty much handmade in America by the same factory, like a wee mini factory that makes all the custom type ones. They're sort of prototypes, so the one they've got is built, you know, by one person, kind of thing. So you end up with this level. It's just that it's just that bit better when everyone's just even. I mean, I think I know Paul Gilbert's like famously uses guitars that are stock, but it's kind of like he's like the exception a wee bit. They're still great, you know what I mean, but they're not actually the one that was just built for them, you know. Whereas I think you'll find out that most of them, the Vi ones and stuff, are all made. They're made in conjunction with Ibanez very much, but they're kind of subcontracted out to build the one-offs, the handmade stuff for the stars. It's just nicer playing. To really go for the really expensive stuff, I suppose. I'm kind of trying to evaluate the shape as well. It totally works ergonomically, completely, and it looks a bit crazy. This bit looks really weird when you see it, but it totally doesn't feel weird. See, it's got like a cool sort of pitched roof style thing. See, it's like one. It's like because it's the reason it looks bright on one side. See, it's like sort of triangular. Probably very difficult to do by factory. And the notes are really, again, it's just precise. So, I'm going to take this over to Jen's. We'll play this and the prototype for a video, then I'll bring it back and I'll strip it and sand it, and then it'll get repainted another pattern. So, there you go. It's really good though. It's... yeah. Rock on.